The 2022 Formula One car has been designed specifically to promote better racing, which it achieves through a revolution in aerodynamics. F1 cars can currently lose up to half of the downforce that gives them grip around the corners when following behind another car, the dirty air from the car in front making them unstable to drive. On the 2022 car, the front wing and nose concept have been completely rethought to help combat this problem, while the revised rear wing design features rolled tips to push the air higher as it comes off the back of the car, allowing the chasing cars to stay closer through corners. And a new 3D-shaped floor generates much more efficient underfloor downforce without disrupting the airflow behind. When combined, the benefits are striking. Current generation cars experience a loss of downforce of around 35% at 20 metres distance and 46% at 10 metres distance. But changes on the 2022 car reduce these figures to just 4% at 20 metres and 18% at 10 metres, meaning chasing cars can stay closer for longer and put more pressure on the driver ahead. Another big change is wheels, increasing in size from 13 to 18 inches, with F1 cars also set to run low-profile tyres for the first time. In addition, bespoke wheel bodywork has been added, including wheel covers and weight control winglets to enhance that all-important airflow. To improve racing, Pirelli, the FIA and Formula One have worked closely together, using input from the teams to define new requirements for the tyres, with the aim of trying to stop them from overheating when they slide too much. F1's turbo hybrid power units are already the most efficient engines ever created. Their thermal efficiency, their ability to turn small amounts of fuel into large amounts of energy, is incredible, while energy recovery and battery systems are already at the cutting edge of technology. But for 2022, they'll be pushed to improve further, with changes to introduce standard components to the fuel system and add additional sensors to allow the FIA to monitor the power unit better. But the major change is the adoption of a new fuel, called E10. This will contain 10% of ethanol, which must be a second-generation biofuel made in a sustainable way. In other words, it must have a near-zero carbon footprint. F1 remains committed to introducing a fully sustainable fuel in the near future and are researching the subject intensely. Formula One remains a dangerous sport, and the push for continual improvements in safety are unrelenting. The 2022 cars will need to be able to withstand 15% more energy in front and rear impact tests, while lessons learned directly from Romain Grosjean's crash in Bahrain mean that engines must separate from the chassis in a safe manner without exposing the fuel tank. In order to pass all tests and gain homologation, every chassis on the grid needs to undergo a number of severe static squeeze tests to prove their strength, with the magnitude of these tests having also been increased for 2022 to ensure drivers are better protected than ever. The effect of the chassis changes and increased tyre sizes are that the minimum car weight has now increased by 5%. The 2022 car has been continuously scrutinised and redeveloped by some of the brightest and best minds in the business of engineering. This iteration of the car is called Uniform and is the 21st formal version of the design. By way of comparison, the car first announced at the 2019 United States Grand Prix was Lima, 9 baseline iterations previous to this one. F1's designers have run around 7,500 simulations, generating a huge amount of data, around half a petabyte in total, equivalent to about 10 million 4-drawer filing cabinets filled with text documents. Teams are already working hard to ensure they hit the ground running at the start of F1's new era, as perhaps the most wide-reaching evolution of Formula One's regulations ever is unleashed. Racing will be less predictable, more spectacular, and drivers will be able to race each other harder than ever. Formula One will never be the same again.